Welcome back for another night of intellectual stimulation, pivotal plot holes, and ignoring past mistakes. We're committed to creating a unique and fulfilling video experience. One part of that commitment is ensuring that you don't get tired of the voice that you're hearing right now. Using the keypad below, please select a new companion voice. It seems that you had some trouble with the keypad. I see what you're trying to type, and I will also correct it for you. Thank you for choosing Angsty Teen. Okay, well that's just rude. Hello, my name is Jaffa and welcome to FNAF Simplified, the series where we go game by game and book by book to solve the lore in order of release. This episode we'll be attempting to solve Sister Location, the most narrative game so far, so much so that many consider it more a visual novel. And to that I say, wrong. Visual novels have rather limited interactivity and gameplay, usually focusing on a narrative and are often text heavy, although some do use voice acting. Oh my god, Sister Location is a visual novel. Unlike the System Survive style games before it, Sister Location tasks you with repairing the animatronics and maintaining the system. As Mike, we start each night taking an elevator down to the Circus Babies and Sing and rental facility, with the Model 5 of the Handyman's Robotics and Unit Repair System, or Hand Unit, acting as our supervisor. We proceed to crawl through a ventilation shaft to the primary control module where we check on two of the animatronics, Flora and Funtime Foxy. However, this is where the nights start to branch off. On your first night, you shock them both into their places and then move on to Circus Baby, who, despite what Hand Unit may say, never actually appears. We then get to go home and enjoy our favourite soap opera, Immortal and the Restless. During night 2's elevator ride, Hand Unit asks us to customise his voice, which starts to glitch out whilst we're checking on the animatronics, resulting in him attempting to reboot the power whilst we're in the circus gallery. Luckily, Circus Baby is there to take over and instructs us to hide under the desk so we can protect ourselves from the Biddy Bab's attack. If you survive these toddlers' onslaught, they realise they're being watched and then flee. Baby's voice returns, warning us that Hand Unit will tell us to reboot the power manually, which requires going through Blora Gallery. She warns if we do as Hand Unit says and go as fast as possible, Blora will kill us. Her premonition is proven true, with Hand Unit telling us exactly that. Crawling slowly and stopping momentarily when Blora's song Crumbling Dreams grows louder, we make it to the break room. Here we have to intermittently play Bon Bon's voice lines to pacify Funtime Freddy, whilst rebooting each section of the facility. With the power restored, we return through Blora's gallery and head home for another episode of Immortal and the Restless. Night 3 then requires us to perform some general maintenance on Funtime Freddy after checking on Blora and Foxy. This means lighting our way through Funtime Auditorium, careful not to anger Funtime Foxy, who, like Withered Foxy before him, is light sensitive. Once you reach parts and service, you must then press a series of buttons on Freddy and Bon Bon's persons per Hand Unit's instructions. After this, you will return through Funtime Auditorium, and no matter how well you do, you'll be jump scared by Funtime Foxy, bringing us straight on to Night 4. As we come to, Circus Baby explains that whilst she has kidnapped us and placed us inside a springlock suit from our pizzeria, she has absolutely no intention to hurt us. As we've covered in previous episodes, springlock suits contain endoskeletons which can be wound back to make room for a performer, the idea being it can double as an animatronic and mascot suit with very little visual difference to the audience. The issue with this is the springlocks are extremely sensitive, releasing the animatronic parts if you so much as breathe on them directly in the wrong place. Whilst there was a number of springlock suits in the Silverized levels, the only ones that we know of so far in the games are Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, so the existence of a third being used in Circus Baby's Pizza World seems rather important. Unfortunately, despite staying inside of it for the duration of Night 4, all we know about it is it has faceplates, and whilst it was at Baby's Pizzeria, it was never used.
At least not the way it was meant to be used.
Whilst we're inside the springlock suit, we watch two technicians bring in Blora, who we last saw in pieces being juggled by her mini arenas at the beginning of Night 3. They put her on some rollers and leave her to be dismantled by the scooper. Baby then opens our faceplate so we can be found on the cameras. However, this does leave us exposed to the mini arenas. We must then balance keeping the springlocks wound up tight whilst wiggling the suit enough to throw off the mini arenas, but not so much that the springlocks unwound, before finally getting to go home and catch up on the Immortal and the Restless. When we check on Blora and Funtime Foxy on our 5th night, neither of them appear. Instead, two human bodies hang in their place, likely the two who brought in Blora the night before. Hand Unit then instructs us to go back to Parts and Service to perform some maintenance on Circus Baby. We traverse the Funtime Auditorium with Funtime Foxy seemingly absent. Entering Parts and Service, we're met by Circus Baby, who Hand Unit says has been deactivated, though he doesn't know why. He's probably cut off, and Baby reveals that she's only pretending to be deactivated. She knows she's about to be scooped like Ballora the night before, and she asks we save what is good. Warning us Ballora's endoskeleton is in here with us, Baby gives us the code to put into a keypad on her left arm. True to her word, if you peer into the darkness just behind her, you can see what seems to be a wiry endoskeleton lurking behind Baby. Once we retrieve the card, Baby tells us to put it into Hand Unit and to send her off to the scooping room. She directs us to the scooping room, reasoning with Ballora to let us past. As we enter the scooping room, Hand Unit tries to warn us that it's prohibited, but Baby cuts him off.
You are in the scooping room now. Funtime Foxy has already been here today. Funtime Freddy has already been here today. Ballora has already been here today. Circus Baby has already been here today. I've been out before, but they always put me back. They always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here. There is nowhere to go when we look like this. But if we looked like you, then we could hide. If we looked like you, then we would have somewhere to go. The scooper only hurts for a moment.
Looming on the other side of the glass is the endoskeleton from Parts and Service, this time wearing the mask that once resided in the control module. Like Ballora, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy and now Circus Baby before us, our insides are ripped out by the scooper, leaving us seemingly to pass out from blood loss. Despite the blood, we come to in our bathroom, the theme of Immortal and the Restless playing in the background. As we look into the mirror, we see our eyes bear a striking resemblance to Ballora's. Thanks to Circus Baby's ending monologue, we don't need to theorise a whole lot on this ending. Throughout the week, the animatronics get themselves scooped, coming together on night 5 to form one endoskeleton. Using Baby's casing, they lure our protagonist Mike to the scooping room to kill him. From what Baby tells us, it seems they plan to use our corpse as a Trojan horse to escape. Despite there being cameras in the rental, they seem rather easy to fool. On our third night, we see the mini-reelers manage to trick Hand Unit by holding Ballora's body parts up, and we saw at the beginning of night 5 that despite Hand Unit knowing there's 2 technicians still on site, he didn't even recognise them hanging on the stage in the animatronic's place. Before we continue on with the fun times choosing, we have 3 more topics to tackle. Like FNAF 2, you have a chance to play a minigame after dying to the animatronics, this minigame being vital to getting the bad ending and to piecing together Circus Baby's origin. At Circus Baby, you have to collect cake power-ups and take them to the children. If you manage to deliver all the cakes in the right order, being careful not to waste any cupcakes, you'll be given an ice cream cone. It's then a race back to the start to deliver the ice cream to a red-headed girl with a red bow and green eyes. The girl takes the cone from us, but before she can make another move, Circus Baby's stomach opens up, a giant claw grabbing the girl and dragging her in. Oddly enough, this isn't the only time we hear of this girl's death. After checking Ballora and Foxy are on their stages, you can go back to Circus Gallery on night 3, despite Hand Unit telling us there's no need to do so. Going under the desk prompts Baby to recount the girl's death.
Did you know that I was on stage once? It wasn't for very long, only one day. What a wonderful day, though. I was in a small room with balloons and a few tables. No one sat at the tables, though. But children would run in and out. Some were afraid of me, others enjoyed my songs. Music was always coming from somewhere else, down a hall. I would always count the children, I'm not sure why. I was always acutely aware of how many there were in the room with me. 2, then 3, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 2, then none. They usually played together in groups of 2 or 3. I was covered in glitter. I smelled like birthday cake. There were 2, then 3, then 5, then 4. I can do something special. Did you know I can make ice cream, although I only did it once. There were 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. Something happened when there was 1. A little girl standing by herself. I was no longer myself, and I stopped singing. My stomach opened, and there was ice cream. I couldn't move, at least, not until she stepped closer. There was screaming for a moment, but only for a moment. Then other children rushed in again, but they couldn't hear her over the sounds of their own excitement. I still hear her sometimes. Why did that happen?
Brightening up one of Scott Games' teasers reveals a newspaper article detailing how Circus Baby's Pizza World closed on its soft opening. The article states that whilst the establishment claims it to be due to gas leaks, it seems something else was the cause. So we can infer that Baby killing this girl caused the pizzeria to close before it even opened. But why did she have a claw in her stomach? Who is this girl? Who is this local entrepreneur the article mentions?
These are legitimate questions.
Before the elevator ride at the beginning of each night, we hear a little girl plead with her father to let her see Circus Baby, seemingly taking place directly before her death.
Daddy, why won't you let me play with her? Daddy, you let the other children go see her. Why won't you let me go? Daddy, just once let me go play with her. She's so pretty and shiny. Didn't you make her just for me? Daddy, she can make balloons! Have you seen her make balloons? Oh, Daddy, let me go to her! Daddy isn't watching. Don't tell Daddy that I'm here. I wanted to watch your show too. I don't know why he won't let me come see you. You're wonderful. Where did the other children go?
From her saying Baby was made for it, we know her father is the man who we hear at the very beginning of the game talking to a group of some kind, presumably a board of directors.
There's no doubting what you've achieved on a technical level. These are clearly state-of-the-art. There are just certain design choices that were made for these robots that we don't fully understand. We were hoping that you could shed some light on those.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
Mr. Afton. William Afton. The purple guy, technician and co-owner of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, child killer and now entrepreneur who founded Circus Baby's Pizza World in the aftermath of Freddy's closing. Wait, was that seriously his motive this whole time? He killed kids at Freddy's to drive them out of business so he could open his own pizza place? Seriously? Didn't he own the first one? Why isn't he a second one? What is this man's goals? But surely that wouldn't make him an entrepreneur, I hear you say. And first of all, that's not how you pronounce it, entrepreneur. And secondly, one look at some source code from scottgames.com teasing Sister Location before its release shows 3 directives. Client Directive 001, Chica's Party World Birthday Accessories Novelties. Client Directive 002, Private Birthday Booking 50 Large, Children Entertainment, Birthday Props Novelties. Client Directive 003, CRMN Institute/Project. Underneath this is the text RVC_log maintenance CO Afton Robotics. So William Afton has built himself not only a robotics company and 2 pizzerias in the form of Freddy's and Baby's, he potentially owns something called Chica's Party World, likely a 3rd restaurant considering Chica's association with food. As for CRMN_INST, there's not a lot to go off. Maybe when we get to future releases we'll have enough to figure out what it means. Now we've identified the entrepreneur and the girl as William Afton and his daughter, but what about the claw? Was that the design detail the board was questioning? Well, lucky for us, Scott Cawthon was generous enough to give us Baby's blueprints along with the other fun times. While Circus Baby's blueprints don't tell us why she herself is capable of capturing children, the other three all have their own set of child luring mechanics. In fact, if you look closely at Funtime Freddy's chest cavity, you can glimpse what a small figure holds inside, confirming Funtimes are designed to capture and likely kill children, explaining why Baby killed Afton's daughter and why he didn't want her going to near Circus Baby. As Baby herself explained, her systems count how many children are in the room. If there's only one, she captures them, letting them die inside her stomach cavity. One last detail I want to mention before we move on is Baby's eyes. Ever since she was introduced in FNAF World, her eyes have been the main focus of her appearance, from being a pair of yellow eyes in FNAF World to the trailer of Sister Location, zooming in on her eyes as all the Funtimes turn on and start performing. In the trailer, and indeed the few times we see her throughout the game, Circus Baby has green eyes, just like Afton's daughter. In the death minigame, Baby has blue eyes, right up until she scoops Afton's daughter when her eyes go dark. Also, I feel I should mention they're both redheads, but the eyes seem to just fit better. Especially since we have the Silver Eyes novel, not the Silver Hair novel. It seems that just like how the MCI victims possess the classics after being murdered and stuffed inside the animatronics, Afton's daughter goes on to possess Circus Baby after being murdered and stuffed inside Baby. After getting 2 stars via getting scooped and completing Circus Baby's minigame, you can now enter the private room. When Baby is directing you through Funtime Auditorium on night 5, you'll need to ignore her instructions and go forward and right instead. You'll now be granted access to the private room, a small office similar to FNAF 1, albeit with a more industrial design. You'll be pitted in a classic FNAF style boss fight against the fused together Funtimes. If you survive until 6 AM, you'll be able to go home and finally enjoy your exotic butters. Final episode of Immortal and the Restless. This victory is short-lived, however, as you've been followed home by the endoskeletons, who we now know from the extras menu to be called Ennard. The very last section of Sister Location we need to look at is the Custom Night, a non-canon DLC that functions very much like the previous Custom Nights, except rather more chaotic. While Scott Cawthon confirmed this is non-canon, he has also stated that 8 cutscenes that can be unlocked through beating the various challenges are canonical to the game's storyline. The first 7 cutscenes follow Mike walking down the street in various states of decay until finally, on the 7th cutscene, he stops and projectile vomits out what appears to be Ennard into the sewer, collapsing. Circus Baby assures him that he won't die, and true to her words, the Purple Man rises again. If you manage to beat Golden Freddy mode on the hardest difficulty, your reward is the final cutscene, a monologue from our protagonist as we look over the wreckage of Fazbear's Fright.
Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it. It was right where you said it would be. They were all there. They didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you. And I found her. I put her back together, just like you asked me to. She's free now. But something is wrong with me. I should be dead, but I'm not. I've been living in shadows. There is only one thing left for me to do now. I'm going to come find you. I'm going to come find you.
Simple though they be, these last 2 cutscenes confirm quite a lot about Mike. The 7th 8-bit cutscene tells us that the red ending is a true ending, with Mike meeting a rather grisly end at the hands of Ennard. Ennard then uses Michael as a skin suit until his body has decayed to the point he's physically falling apart as Ennard's not scooped out his organs. Good job, Ennard. You paid attention in biology class. Upon Ennard fleeing his body, Michael seems to possess his own corpse. I mean, there is no way he's still alive at this point. William's daughter may stay behind at this point as well, seeing that after Ennard leaves, we can still hear her voice repeating, "Won't die," over and over and over again, but we can't say for sure. In his monologue, Michael seems to be addressing Springtrap. Judging by as Mike says that he's coming after him, Springtrap rises from the wreckage, almost in acknowledgement. We can also infer that if this is taking place whilst the fire is smouldering, Michael is likely the FNAF 3 guard, which, if our theory from FNAF 4 Simplified is correct, would make Mike Smith from FNAF 1, Fritz Smith from FNAF 2, the FNAF 3 guard, Foxy Bro, and the nighttime protagonist from FNAF 4 all Michael Afton. It would even explain Mike Smith and Fritz Smith being 5 per foul and older. They're essentially a zombie. But at the time, the biggest mystery in FNAF is who's hiring this guy. But all of this still begs one other question. Where does Sister Location take place on the timeline? Like its predecessors, Sister Location is rather barren of dates to tie it to the timeline. Fortunately, there are a couple of Easter eggs that we can use to place it on the timeline. Perhaps the most notable Easter egg: to enter the code 1983 on the keypad in the private room, monitors switch to the views of the FNAF 4 house. Combined with the house appearing on the break room monitor, this tells us that the very earliest Sister Location can happen is 1983, during the FNAF 4 minigames. The second most notable clue comes in the form of Han Yuna's introduction on night 1.
Due to the massive success, and even more so the unfortunate closing of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, it was clear that the stage was set, no pun intended, for another contender in children's entertainment.
This then begs the question, which closing of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza? At the moment, we know of 3 separate shutdowns. The original Freddy's sometime between 1983 and 87, after the missing children's incident. The FNAF 2 location in November 1987 after the dead children's incident. And the FNAF 1 location, which we theorise be around 1993, but could come a little later. We can safely rule out FNAF 1, since William Afton would be spring-locked in the Spring Bonnie costume inside the boarded-up safe room, meaning he is in no state to create futuristic robots nor an underground facility to store them in. Besides, the board of directors would be rather unnerved if an undead fairy was pitching them a clown capable of child capture. And they were really unnerved about that without the fairy. That leaves us with the MCI and DCI shutdowns, and I think I know which one. If you remember, Phone Guy tells us in his FNAF 2 phone calls that they tried to remake Foxy in reference to Mangle, or as she's known in FNAF world, Funtime Foxy. Just looking at the 2 designs, you can see how close they are. The same white and pink colour scheme, the same pink rims around the yellow eyes, the same red bow tie, similar makeup with rosy cheeks and lipstick. And whilst Mangle's figure's design has got a hook in one of the FNAF 2 teasers and FNAF world, that is the only connection either Funtime Foxy has to pirates. In fact, they're so similar that some people mistake them for being the same animatronic. But I would like to point out that the Sister Location Fox has pink hands and much more paneling, and faceplates, honed eyebrows, not to mention totally different endoskeletons. It seems that Mangle could have been designed to be a cute rebrand of Funtime Foxy, meaning the Freddy's that Hanju was referring to had to have been the MCI location. Who knew that the Foxy was the key to the timeline? Next Easter egg is one that most people wouldn't normally recognise during their playthrough. During the power outage on night 2, you can occasionally hear a deep, slow, gurgling groan. When sped up, however, they reveal to be Circus Baby saying 1, 5, 7, 8 in a randomised order. It's widely theorised that these numbers could be the date Baby murders Afton's daughter, helping us narrow down the earliest possible date for Sister Location to happen a bit further. However, out of the 24 possible combinations, the only 4 that can fit our time frame: January 7th, 1985, July 1st, 1985, January 5th, 1987, and May 1st, 1987. Since we need Circus Baby's Pizza World to have its soft open, closed due to Ice Cream Girl's death, have Circus Baby's entertainment and rental open long enough for a previous technician to die in the vent, as Handuna mentioned on night 2, I think May 1987 will be too close to FNAF 2 to happen. So the event of Sister Location can happen any time between 1985 to 1987. Whilst I wish this could be the point where I could pull out one last clue to give us a solid year, this seems to be all the evidence we have at the moment. Like I said in the FNAF World Simplified, this timeline has grown so vast that I won't be able to end the video off with it. But I'll try to very quickly summarise Michael Afton's timeline, although I won't be able to go into details about major events further than strictly necessary. If you want more details about them, there's an entire playlist. Go check out them. Maybe skip FNAF 2 Simplified. I don't really like that one, I'll be honest. In the aftermath of the Bite of 83, Michael was left haunted by nightmares that felt so realistic it was almost like they were real. Why, Scott? Just when I thought I had actually solved the game once, you just had to do it. Meanwhile, his father William had lost not only his son, but his diner and pizzeria. He threw himself into his robotics, eventually opening Circus Baby's Pizza World. In the run-up towards the grand opening, however, tragedy would strike for Athens again. Despite William's warnings, his daughter snuck off to see the pizzeria's titular character. Unbeknownst to anyone, this pizzeria was another tool to aid William's murder spree, with Circus Baby being a key part in his plans. As soon as Baby was alone with the girl, she scooped her into her stomach cavity, killing the girl. Whilst the girl possessed the Circus Baby, her murder was covered up, Pizza World cancelled, and Baby and the other fun times moved to the Circus Baby's entertainment and rental service. Michael takes up a job in the location under William's instructions to find Baby, eventually getting killed by her in the process, and his corpse getting scooped out and used as a disguise with the culmination of the fun times, Ennard, to hide and escape the facility. Once Mike's body became too decrepit and decayed for Ennard to hide in, the fun times flee, relinquishing control back to Michael. Returned to find his father, Michael takes up jobs at various Fazbear locations, finally finding him in Fazbear's Fright, burning the attraction to the ground. I know this was a long one, but if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. It means a lot to me and it keeps you notified for the next episode. And with that, good bit for now.